you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. And good afternoon and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. Always a pleasure to join you guys via Facebook, via radio, however you got here. Thank you so much for being here today. Well, we know what today is, February 14th. And for all the lovers in the house, it's a special day because it's Valentine's Day. And Valentine's Day is known to be the day of love. But after you hear this show today, you may question whether or not you want to call it the day of love anymore. And this show today is not designed to ruin your Valentine's Day, okay? So, disclaimer, that's not the intent. Y'all have to blame this show on the guest that was booked to come on today. And while I was sitting in church yesterday, I got an email from his assistant saying he had an emergency and he can't make it. I was like, Lord have mercy. So now I got to go put my show together for tomorrow. And obviously, trying to find guests the day before Valentine's Day is not easy. So I do have a guest who's going to be joining us a little later on in the show, but I had to figure out what am I going to do? So I thought, you know what? It is Valentine's Day. Let's look at this day and what it means and what it's all about. And so that's what our show is going to be about today. I'm calling it What's Love Got to Do with It? The expose on Valentine's Day, or of Valentine's Day. So you're going to be learning a lot of things in this show today that I found quite surprising, actually. A lot of what I discovered, I learned as I was watching these videos, as I was preparing the show for today. And I thought, oh boy, this is something here. So we're going to be talking about the origins of Valentine's Day, the ritual of Valentine's Day, the traditions of Valentine's Day, the symbols of Valentine's Day, what it all means, where it all came from, and whether or not you should be celebrating Valentine's Day today, or if you do celebrate Valentine's Day, should you do it in a way that is unique to you and yours. And so I'm going to throw the telephone numbers early, but we're going to be playing several clips during the show. The telephone numbers to call if you have any questions or comments, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272. And the WhatsApp number is 824-9952, 824-9952 is the WhatsApp number. Okay, so those numbers again for our Facebook audience: 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp number 824-9952. What's love got to do with it? That is a question we're going to be asking during the show today, because as I discovered, the origins of Valentine's Day ain't got much to do with what we know today Valentine's Day to be. So we're going to go to clip number 1, and this is going to be a brief overview of the history of Valentine's Day, and then we're going to break it down and go deep in the history. So let's go to clip number 1.
For all its popularity, history doesn't give us any guarantees as to the origins of Valentine's Day. But we do know it contains vestiges of the early Christian church in ancient Rome. The association between mid-February and romance goes back to a pagan festival known as Lupercalia, likely honoring either Lupa, the she-wolf of Rome who suckled Romulus and Remus, or Faunus, their god of fertility. The festivities began with an animal sacrifice. Then the ritualistic slapping of young women with strips of the animal's skin and blood to bestow fertility for the coming year. In the 5th century, perhaps in an effort to Christianize the pagan festival, Pope Gelasius declared February 14th as St. Valentine's Day. As for the real St. Valentine, there were reportedly several canonized by the Church. Legend has it that one St. Valentine, a defiant Roman priest, lived during the 3rd century AD under Emperor Claudius II. Claudius was an ambitious ruler. His battles required vast armies of men to abandon their young families for long periods of time, resulting in a military that was half-hearted and homesick. So determined was Claudius to stop love from sapping the will of his armies, he banned marriages altogether. Father Valentine thought the ban unjust and defied the emperor, continuing to marry young lovers in secret. The emperor eventually caught on to the priest's actions, arrested him, and sentenced him to death. It is believed that young couples he had secretly wed would visit his cell, passing him flowers and notes through the bars as symbols of their gratitude. The story continues that the condemned Father Valentine fell in love with his jailer's daughter. On February 14th, the day he was executed, it is said he passed the young girl a note. It was signed, "From your Valentine." A tradition was born. Cupid, the winged matchmaker, started out as the Roman god of love, inspired the image of cherubs for Christians, and is now a favorite of card makers and mass marketers. Our modern Valentine's Day, removed from its religious and pagan past, has evolved into one of the most celebrated holidays on the calendar. On average, Americans shower their loved ones with 180 million roses, red ones naturally, and almost 36 million heart-shaped boxes.
So where did the name Valentine's Day come from? Valentine's Day is said to be named after a few Christian martyrs who...
No, that was a mistake. Okay, so we pretty much get the basic idea of what Valentine's Day was about. We apologize for that other video coming in too soon. Just so you know, I think that report would have referred to how much is being spent in the United States on Valentine's Day right now. That's an old report. The actual amount that's being spent in the United States alone this year, $18+ billion. And that's just the United States of America. So we are talking a huge business here. And, you know, the story of St. Valentine, and, you know, we just heard the overview of it. It sounds so romantic. Oh, he was helping out the lovers who wanted to be married, and, you know, he was secretly marrying them, and then he, you know, lost his life because of it, and all this kind of wonderful stuff. And it sounds just so romantic and so sweet and so, but, you know, they touched on the origin of where this thing started, and that is Lupercalia. And my first time hearing about Lupercalia was in my research for this show. This thing goes very, 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 very deep. It didn't start with the story of Saint Valentine, who was later martyred for his efforts to marry people in secret. It didn't start there. It started with the pagan ritual and the worship of Lupercalia. And so I want to go to clip number 2 that breaks down this whole story in detail about who Lupercalia was and what kind of worship took place. Let's go to clip number 2.
Valentine's Day was made by the Roman Catholic Church to Christianize the pagan celebration of Lupercalia. Lupercalia was one of the most ancient Roman festivals, which was celebrated every year in honor of Lupercus, the god of fertility, also known as the god Faunus. This festival, which celebrated the coming of spring, included fertility rites, orgies, fornication, sex with minors, drunkenness, and other activities like the pairing off of women with men by lottery. Lupercalia was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, as well as to the founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. During this time, the winter solstice is long gone, and the pagans are now seeing that the days are getting gradually longer. This was one of the most important fertility festivals for pagans. The festival was held on the 15th of February in the Lupercal, where Romulus and Remus were said to have been nurtured by the she-wolf. The place contained an altar and a grove sacred to the god Lupercus. In Lupercal, the Luperci, who were the priests, assembled on the day of Lupercalia and sacrificed goats and dogs. These animals were known for their strong sexual instinct, making them most appropriate sacrifices to the god of fertility. Then the Luperci cut thongs from the skins of the sacrificial animals and ran in 2 bands around the Palatine Hill. They would whip any women who came near them. A blow from the thong was supposed to make a woman fertile. It's said that young women would actually line up for the men to hit them. Now, if you just dig a little deeper, you can understand further what is being celebrated. Lupercalia is believed to be connected to the ancient Greek festival of Arcadian Lycaea and the worship of Pan. Lupercalia is the Roman form of worship of the Greek god Pan. Pan can be traced to the sun god Baal. He is the horned god. And we know Baal is none other than Nimrod. Nimrod was the original Lupercus. The Lupercalia, the festival of the Romans held during the time we know today as Valentine's Day, was a festival to honor Nimrod, just in this Roman form. This is paganism. In ancient pagan Rome, the month of February was sacred to Juno Februata, the goddess of the fever of love. Juno Februata was also the goddess of women and of marriage. February 14th was her festival day. A box was provided from which single men could draw a billet, a small piece of paper on which a woman's name was written. The couple would then form a temporary liaison for the erotic games to follow. Sometimes they would remain partners for the following 12 months. Marriage sometimes resulted from this practice. So these days were used to celebrate fertility in ancient pagan Rome. It was a pagan festival day that goes back to the honoring of Nimrod. This was what happened during this time in ancient history.
Fascinating stuff. And as we go through the show today, we're going to hear step by step how we got to be where we are today with the celebrations and the rituals that we have going on now. And then when my guest joins the show, we're going to talk more about the meaning behind Valentine's as it relates to the expressions of love and how you can be a Valentine for your loved one, not just on February 14th, but on every day of the year. So we are hearing now that this goes a lot deeper than we think, because most of us, when we think of the story of Valentine's Day, we think of St. Valentine's because we think that's where it all began. But as we're learning now, it began even sooner than that. And this was a part of the church's way to try to keep their new converts who were involved in paganism in this new Christianity, this new religion for them. So instead of saying, no, you can't do that, what they did was they sort of Christianized certain practices to make it easier for them to stay in this new religion and not turn their back on Christianity altogether. So we've heard about the Lupercalia, and now we're going to, as we wait for our guest to join the show, we're going to go to clip number 3, which talks more about the story that we know of, meaning the origins of Valentine's Day and the role that St. Valentine played.
So where did the name Valentine's Day come from? Valentine's Day is said to be named after a few Christian martyrs who the Roman Catholic Church named saints. According to one story, Roman Emperor Claudius II imposed a ban on marriages because too many young men were dodging the draft by getting married. At that time, only single men had to enter the army. There was a Roman physician and priest who had converted to Christianity when it was a persecuted religion. His name was Valentinus of Terni, and according to some of the stories, he used to marry Christian couples in secret. It was said he wore a ring with a cupid on it, which is used as a symbol of love. We'll cover that soon. The ring helped soldiers recognize him. When he was exposed, he was imprisoned, tortured, and beheaded. Later, he became a martyr and the patron saint of true love in marriages. While awaiting execution, he was visited by young lovers with notes about how much better love is than war. Some think of these love letters as the first Valentines. Valentinus' execution occurred on February 14th in the year 269. Later on, after Rome adopted Christianity and the Roman Empire fell, and the Holy Roman Empire began, the Roman Catholic Church made changes. The church was opposed to this display of open eroticism and sensuality that occurred during Lupercalia. In the 5th century, Pope Gelasius declared February 14th a holy day in honor of Valentinus, instead of the pagan god Lupercus. As with most non-biblical customs found in the church today, Lupercalia was simply given a Christian-sounding name and adopted into the Universal Catholic Church. They adopted some of the pagan celebrations during Lupercalia to reflect Christian beliefs. For example, as part of the Juno Feberata ritual, instead of pulling girls' names from boxes, both boys and girls chose the names of martyred saints from a box. They were expected to emulate the life of the saint whose name they had drawn. And this is where we get Valentine's Day from. It was a rebranding of a pagan festival worshiping fertility. They did this to make it easy on the pagan converts who were coming into their new popular Christianity. These pagans were unwilling to give up their satanic pagan rituals. So instead of putting a halt to the growing paganism of the church, the Romans took the approach of blend and incorporate.
Blend and incorporate. Quite fascinating. I really want to apologize to anybody out there who's listening to this, who I'm ruining your Valentine's, because that's not my intent at all. Enjoy your Valentine. Treat your loved one special, not just today, but every day. So again, it's not my intent to, cast a shadow over Valentine's Day, but I just found it very fascinating. Because we often get involved in rituals. And sometimes we don't understand the rituals that we're actually participating in. And so I thought it would be interesting to bring forward this information to you, and you do with it whatever you wish. It's not, I'm not trying to cast aspersions on anybody who's celebrating Valentine's or who's not celebrating Valentine's one way or the other. But knowledge is power, or the application of knowledge is. Nicole says, the truth makes you free. And Walvarin, I hope I pronounced your name right, it says, white folks, paganism, how the buck breakers live through these tortures. Okay, so we're talking Valentine's Day today. Where it came from, how it started, what it means, and what it should mean to you in terms of how to show love, because it's evolved now to be this day of love. But as we're learning in this show today, it didn't begin that way. It was all about eroticism and paganism, and the Romans were known for being, how do I put this? They weren't the most moral people going around, and it was actually their immorality that destroyed the nation. So this was one of their, rituals that, you heard it described better than I can break it down, that, they took part in every year as a part of this pagan celebration. And whereas we don't see, people having orgies in the streets anymore as part of this celebration, it is good to know the origins and to know what it is that we are celebrating, and why we should maybe consider taking another approach to it. Again, I'm not here trying to, ruin your Valentine's Day, okay? Because I know Valentine's Day is a big deal for a lot of people, and this is why it's 18 billion plus industry every year. But again, it's good to have information, I thought. So Wald says all religious organizations and dogma was for hierarchy to maintain dictatorship over pilgrim, migrants, and slaves. Even though we know these are formed from demonology and immorality, we keep it alive. Well, that's an interesting perspective. It is interesting because once you have this information, then you have to decide what you're going to do with it. Some people, and as you'll hear in a report that we're going to play later in the show, in a clip that we're going to play a little later, some people believe that even though it had its origins in paganism, that doesn't mean that we can't look at it from a Christian perspective today. And we're going to play a clip that's going to talk about that a little later on. But before we go to the break, I want to play one more clip. And this clip is going to describe to you or explain to you the symbols that we use in Valentine's Day. Very interesting.
Let's look at some of the symbols that are used today with Valentine's Day. The red rose. You think this flower was just chosen because it is beautiful? Not at all. Venus was the Roman goddess of beauty, love, fertility, and sexual immorality, such as prostitution. She was the Roman equivalent to the Greek goddess Aphrodite. Venus is the mother of Cupid. Her favorite flower was the red rose, which then associated the red rose with love. Because Valentine's Day became associated with love, in honor of the pagan goddess Venus, or Aphrodite, the goddess of love, red roses became synonymous with Valentine's Day. Just remember, if you look up most customs of today, you will often find a pagan god in connection with it. Does this mean it's pagan to love a red rose? Obviously not, but you should know why it is connected with Valentine's Day. Buying red roses for your loved one does not make you a pagan. I want to make that clear. Cupid. Most people don't know this because he's often portrayed as a little baby boy. But Cupid is a pagan god. Like I said earlier, his mother was the goddess Venus. He is a counterpart of the Greek god Eros. According to the myth, Cupid was the son of Mercury and Venus. Mercury being the winged messenger of the gods, and Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. Cupid often appeared as a winged infant carrying a bow and a quiver of arrows. Legend has it that Cupid shoots magical gold-tipped arrows at both gods and humans. By piercing their heart with an arrow, he causes individuals to fall deeply in love. This is why you always see a heart with an arrow. It's a representation of the pagan god Cupid.
Y'all remember that song? Cupid, pull back your bow. That takes on a different meaning now. When you get this kind of information, it's like, what? Oh dear. I have something to think about. Walt says the original rose is also poisonous. And he says Eros was used for sorcery. Claudette says, good afternoon, Michelle, and good afternoon, everyone. Hey, Claudette. Welcome to the show. We're talking Valentine's Day today. We're talking about the origin of the Valentine celebration that we all know and love today. And as we have heard in this first segment of the show, there's a dark past as it relates to Valentine's Day. And it's not as innocent as we may think. We know that Valentine's Day has become a huge deal around the world, not just in the Bahamas or the United States, but Valentine's Day is celebrated worldwide. And people have come to, revere Valentine's Day. I wouldn't say it's on the level of Christmas, but Valentine's Day is the second most sales for cards are on Valentine's Day, second only to Christmas. So that'll give you an idea of how big a deal Valentine's Day is. And, one of the reasons why I am so happy that Barrington agreed to do the show, and I'm waiting, patiently for him to come on. He did say he would be a little late because I did get to him just yesterday by you know. But one of the sad things about Valentine's Day is that there's so many people out there who are sad today or depressed today because they don't have, a Valentine, or they're not. Everybody around them in the office is receiving flowers and roses, and they're not getting anything. Some people go so far as to spend their own money to send gifts to themselves at the office just so they don't be left out and all this kind of stuff. And some people go into this day and come out of this day depressed because they don't have this particular what's the word I'm looking for? For some people, it's some kind of statement to be able to say, oh, look what I got for Valentine's today. I must be so loved. And here's the thing. A lot of these people who are outwardly, expressing, oh, look what I received. And, this must mean so much in terms of my love life and all this kind of stuff. Boy, some of them catching some eternal hell beyond February 14th, but that's another show. So I really wanted to have a guest on today who could talk about the importance of love in or out of February 14th and what that means. What are his needs compared to her needs? Why is it important for us to show love beyond February 14th? What does it take to make a relationship work, not just for show, not just, saying, oh, I got the biggest bouquet in the office this Valentine's Day, but at home, things are not the way they should be. So we're talking about real love today, what that looks like, what it should be, what you can do to make your significant others feel special today and every day. And that is, I'm hoping that by the end of this show today, you will walk away from this show not just having a better understanding of the Valentine's Day celebration, but of how you can show love, whether it be to your significant other, whether it be to, a family member, a child, how you can make this truly a day of love and let that go beyond just the 14th of February. That is the goal of this show today. So again, this is not to try to, cast any dark cloud over Valentine's Day. Not that I could do that because the celebration is huge out there. But I just thought it would be interesting to come from another perspective today to talk about Valentine's Day. So we're going to take a break. But before we do, have you experienced an injury or something similar? Crawford Agreement 2 has the solution. Located on 117 Collins Avenue, 2 doors north of Frank Hanna to Carmichael and Montgomery, and into number 57 Center Drive, Millers Heights. Contact or call them at 425-6535 or WhatsApp or message them as well, or visit their website at www.crawfordagreement2, that's the number 2.com. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. One more time, have you ever experienced injury or something similar? Crawford Agreement 2 has a solution located on 117 Collins Avenue, 2 doors north of Frank Hanna to Carmichael and Montgomery, and into number 57 Center Drive, Millers Heights. Contact or call them at 425-6535, 425-6535, or WhatsApp or message them, or visit their website at www.crawfordagreement2.com. All right, welcome back to GPS. We're calling this show today, What's Love Got to Do with It? Talking about Valentine's Day and the origins of the Valentine's Day holiday and how this whole thing got started. And as we've learned so far, there's a little bit of a sinister background to this whole celebration of Valentine's Day. It didn't begin as this innocent celebration that we think. It actually got its roots in paganism. Let's see. Claudette says, I used to celebrate Valentine's Day to the max, but now it's just another day for me. I don't celebrate it anymore. Paganism. Wall says, love used to mean to have genuine concern for the well-being of another. Love today, proving one's affection, obsessive compulsive position of another's attention and affection. You know what's so scary? You have some young fellas who right now will beg, borrow, or steal just to make sure that they could have their goods sorted out for Valentine's Day because they don't want the pressure that she can put on them for not, you got to produce. And it has become so commercialized because of that. It's just sad what it has become. That, this is one of the holidays that merchants are very happy because they know people are going to find money to spend for Valentine's Day. And That's a very interesting position that you have there about what love used to mean and what it is today, Wall. So Melvern says most of us do not understand what love is. First of all, love is a choice. There is no such thing as falling in love. We get to decide whom to love. Like Dr. Miles said, if you don't know the purpose of a thing, abuse is inevitable. I agree with you that love is a decision. People say, Michelle, that's crazy. It's more than that. No, you decide. Because if it wasn't just a decision, then once you fall in love with somebody, as they put it, how would you be able to fall out of love with them? There has to be some kind of decision-making process. Because how many people we know start off so deeply in love and all this kind of stuff, and then they go and they get married, and then a short while later, they have irreconcilable differences, and they can't see eye to eye, and they're ready to, go at each other's jugular. But you had fallen in love, but yet for whatever reasons, you have decided that you no longer love that person. So I agree that love is a decision. That may sound cold, but I think if we strip away all of the layers of what we believe leads to someone, quote unquote, falling in love, at the very core, we will see that it is a decision. It's a decision. So this is something that, you can decide whether or not you're going to accept somebody into your life as your significant other. That's a decision. And there are various factors that contribute to that decision, but at the end of the day, it is a decision. We'd love to hear from you. Our telephone lines are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271 is the number to call, or 326-0272, 326-0272, and our WhatsApp line is 824-9952. Now, there is one more clip that I want to play. And this one is with regard to the modern day Christian perspective of Valentine's Day. That will be clip number 5.
For many people, Valentine's Day is all about romance.
If you ask the person in the street, what does Valentine's Day mean to you? All it means is a heart-shaped box of chocolates and a nice dinner with your beloved and sending cards and so forth. And then if they did know about a St. Valentine, they probably wouldn't realize that he was a priest in the late 3rd century in Rome who was actually martyred for the faith. Very often legends will develop from real facts. There's that little phrase in J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings where he says, history became legend and legend became myth.
The legend of St. Valentine is a story that is rooted in fact.
There are 3 stories surrounding him, and they all agree on a number of issues. It seemed that he was born in 226 in a tiny little city called Terni in Umbria in Italy, and that he was either a priest or a bishop. Valentine apparently lived during the reign of the Emperor Claudius II. He's sometimes referred to as Claudius Gothicus. Now, this emperor did not reign for very long, maybe a year and a half. Rome at this point in time was really a cesspool of immoral behavior. Pedophilia was rife. Sexual promiscuity was rife. And one of the great witnesses of the early church is that they stood up for the value of a godly marriage, where sexuality was channeled into its God-given boundaries, and it would become a witness of what enduring love could look like.
During his reign, Claudius issued an edict that made marriage illegal.
There was an invasion of Goths towards Rome, and they needed a lot of people to go to war. And it seemed that the rule was that once you were married, you were given freedom not to go to war. And Valentine would not only convert the people, but secretly marry them so that they could indeed stay at home.
Valentine was arrested and brought to Rome. While he was being held captive, he presented the gospel to his jailer, the judge Asterius.
So the judge said to him, well, if this indeed is true, I want you to prove it. And he brought one of his adopted daughters, who happened to be blind, the one legend says. And what happened is that Valentinus, or Valentine here, laid his hands upon this girl, and she was healed immediately.
Another legend says that before he was executed, he left a note for the girl signed, "Your Valentine." Some say this led to the practice of sending Valentines on February 14th, the day he was beheaded.
All the legends seem to agree that Valentine was martyred on the 14th of February in 269.
Therefore, that was the day associated with him when the church would celebrate and thank God for his life.
So Valentine's Day didn't start out as a romantic holiday.
We do need to recognize that this day, the 14th of February, was already connected with Valentine from the 4th century, already from that time onward. And right from the beginning, this celebration had more to do than just a celebration of romantic love. And the church's commitment to Valentine to honor this example of Christian marriage and sacrifice and martyrdom and the healing of other people and the spread of the gospel was from the beginning a commitment to what Christian marriage could be like in our world and the message that it brings to a broken world.
Valentine's Day represents more than flowers and candy. It's about what's in our hearts and the heart of Christ.
When we see those hearts on Valentine's Day, we can remember that that heart also has some connections back to the heart of Jesus and to God's love for us. And we can remember that the source of all love and the source of self-sacrifice and love for each other is rooted in God's love and in the witness that St. Valentine actually made for that love.
For Christians, marriage is more than just a union between a man and a woman. For Christians, marriage is a holy parable of the love of Christ towards his church. It's a visible sermon about what holiness and purity could look like in our lives. We should celebrate what true sacrificial love looks like in a broken world. And ultimately, it should be a day that we celebrate the commitment of Christ who gave his life for his church. It should be a day of evangelism. It should be a day where we celebrate the power of true love to change our world. It is a Christian holiday.
And the ones presented prior to it. And so I would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on how Valentine's Day should be celebrated? Do you think that people should, those who are believers should shun it because it has roots in paganism, or should, as he just described in that last clip, should believers use it as a form of talking about the love of Christ and the ultimate sacrifice for his lover, the church? Are we reading too much into this? Is it just another way to have fun? Take your bae out for dinner and enjoy yourself? Or is it something that we need to look further into? How do you express love on Valentine's Day? Or how would you like love to be expressed to you on Valentine's Day? So if your significant other hasn't been getting it right, what would you say to them in terms of what you would like to see done for you to feel loved on this Valentine's Day or any other day? Because I dare say that if you are treating your significant other, if you're showing them love throughout the year, not just on Valentine's Day, then even if you just pick some flowers on the side of the road and you take them inside the house and say, "I love you, baby, this is it, happy Valentine's Day." But if you're showing them love every day, you're not going to get pushback like you would if every day you just ain't checking and then you miss and forget Valentine's Day. Doghouse. So how is it that we put so much emphasis on this one day, but we put less emphasis on the other days of the year when we really should be showing love all the time? And I'm not saying that that's an easy thing to do, because sometimes, people could work on your nerves and you don't feel loving all the time. But we are encouraged or called to show love, not just on one day of the year. And so I'd love to hear from you guys in terms of what you think is the way that we should be celebrating Valentine's Day, or whether you think it's something that we should not be celebrating, and what kinds of things that you would like to see uh, on Valentine's Day, how you would like to be celebrated, or how you plan to celebrate your loved one on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is a big day for engagements. A lot of people decide that this is the time that they're going to pop the question. And so there's a big deal with engagement rings, and obviously the floral industry and chocolates and all that kind of stuff. Is that a caller for the show? Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, good afternoon, madam. How do you do?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Derek Benjamin, the Merit Jr. here. Good
Hi.
afternoon, Bahamas.
Thanks for calling.
In the context of Christianity, with respects to, religion and Valentine's, I mean, it have all to do with the very appeasement. Okay. And, Christians intend to appease their God in the context that they are doing what they are doing so that they can get something from their God. And so, it's no different from any other religion. Right. And so I also wanted to say that love to me is an action word. Again, you mentioned that love is a decision, it is a choice. And so it is an action word. If you remember, God sent his son to die because he loved the world, you see? And so, again, for me, love is dying for. You have to reach to the place where you are able to die for. You look at Nelson Mandela.
Or die to self. Or die to self, yeah.
Or die to self,
right.
Absolutely. Because, again, you're going to have to kill some things and make some changes that you don't want to, right? And so, again, if we check out Nelson Mandela and, we talk about Mahatma Gandhi and all of these different people and Martin Luther King, these people are willing to die for something.
Right.
You see, and it's because of love, you see. And so in the context of Valentine's, right, I believe that we should pull on the idea of being able to die, okay, for one another where love is concerned, because it's an action word, see? And and so I just wanted to get that across. What do you say to this?
I agree with you. I think that part of our challenge with society as a whole is that people aren't willing to die to self.
Right.
So whether it means that I'm going to hit you because I have the right of way on the street, so I'm not going to give you way. Whether it means that I'm not willing to, in the situation of a relationship, whether it means that even though this is something that I know, let's say that there's something that's a pet peeve that you have that I know that bothers you, but I'm going to do it anyway because I just don't care that it bothers you.
Right.
It's those little things that I think make a big difference. And it's a problem not just in relationships, but it's a problem throughout our society where people are, the Bible talks about how people will become lovers of themselves. So Valentine's Day is the biggest thing for ourselves. We love ourselves. Many people only do things on Valentine's Day because of what they will receive in return. And it goes back to what you said earlier. So it's not coming from a place of pure love. It's coming from, let me do this because I want to get that. And I think that's a big part of our problem as a society, that we need to learn how to really care for people from a deeper level. There's too much surface love going on. Where, if it's not about me and what I can get out of this relationship, then it's not worth being in. And I'm going to treat you any kind of way. And, it's just sad what we see happening in our society as a whole. And so, my hope is that we as a people will learn how to love people, from a deeper level, where we can sometimes say no to ourselves and no to our selfish desires so that others could,
Can you hear me?
could enjoy life as well. I think a big
All
part
right,
of our
cool,
problem is
man,
we
no
only
pleasure.
thinking about ourselves. We're not thinking about how what we do is affecting other people. And so this is why it's so easy for some people to break into your house and steal or rob or gunpoint or whatever, because they're not considering what it's doing for you or to you. They're only thinking about themselves.
Right, I agree with you. My
Yeah.
phone was cutting in and out.
Okay.
My phone was cutting in and out, but before you go, I just want to say that in our culture,
Mm-hmm.
it should be consumed with love. You
Right.
see?
Right.
And at the end of the day, with respect to the kingdom of God, all right, love is a part of the culture
Right.
of the kingdom of God. You
Right.
see?
Right.
And so there's much we need to do and to practice so that we become a nation of love.
True.
Right?
Well, thank you so much for calling
All right, no problem. Thank you.
and enjoy your Valentine's Day.
Likewise.
All right. So I see where my guest has joined us. Barrington Brennen. Yeah, and those of you who don't know who Barrington Brennen is as you're going to hear in a moment, he has a very distinct voice. And Barrington Brennen has a practice along with his wife where they provide family counseling and counseling for persons in relationships. And I'm so happy that he was able to join us here on the show today because I just got to him yesterday. And I'm so happy that he was able to join us. Even, he said he might only be able to do the second half, but that is better than not at all. Barrington, can you hear me okay? It looks like Barrington is not able to hear. Barrington, can you hear us okay? No, he's not responding. Okay, so I'm not sure why he can't hear us. I can hear you, Barrington. Can you hear me? No. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on with his audio, why he's unable to hear. You know what? He has on earphones. Maybe if he takes those out. Okay, let me send him a message to tell him to take out his earphones. Take out your earphones. And maybe that will make things go better so he can hear us. Because I've had Barrington on past shows that I've done. And he brings a wealth of knowledge about relationships and what we need to do to foster better relationships, whether it be your significant other or a relationship with a child, a family environment. He's very, very good at what he does. So let's try and work out the sound problems. And then we'll get him in on the conversation. Tell you what, let's take another break. And let me see if I can get him on the phone to let him know that he needs to take the earphones out, and hopefully he'll be able to hear us at that point. So stay with us. This is GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, and we're talking Valentine's Day today. We'll be back after these words.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome.
I can't hear
it
you.
can
My
help
mic
break down
is, my
food so your
speaker's
body
even
can
turning
better
up
absorb
loudly.
nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Last is love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
I don't.
Okay, we can hear you now. Can you hear us now? Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company, and I'm trying to see if we can get our guest, and he's nodding his head saying he can't hear us, even though we can hear him. I'm not sure what's going on his end, why he's unable to hear us. Okay, let's mute his microphone until we sort this out. Our telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272, 3260272. And our WhatsApp number is 824-9952, 824-9952, the WhatsApp number. We're talking Valentine's Day today. And we would have heard in the first portion of the show the history behind Valentine's Day, how we got to where we are, I'm trying to talk to you guys and communicate with him at the same time. All right, let me tell him to try another browser. Okay, so we heard about the paganism that much of what we are celebrating today is rooted in, and that is the history of Valentine's Day. But we also heard another clip in the show saying, well, there's another approach that Christians are taking as it relates to Valentine's Day today as an opportunity for evangelism and talking about the love of the ultimate Valentine, which is the Lord Jesus Christ, who loved his bride so much that he literally gave up his life for her. And so there are some who believe that even though that Valentine's Day has its roots in paganism, this is still something that believers should celebrate and use as an opportunity to talk about the love of Christ. So what are your thoughts on this? We're just waiting for our guest Byron Barrington Brennen, sorry, to log back in. I think it may be an issue with Chrome, because sometimes when I try to get into our streaming StreamYard using Chrome, I have the same problem with audio. So he's going to try to log in using another browser. Let's see what happens, and hopefully that'll solve the problem. But we would love to hear from you in terms of what you believe or how you believe we should celebrate Valentine's Day and every other day as it relates to showing love to our fellow man. Our telephone numbers to call 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp number 824-9952, 824-9952. Now, Zenneman has written a long Facebook message. Let's see if we can get this all in. Two individuals in love must work on intimacy, and this is a lifetime challenge that can only grow through communication. A couple, quote, in love, end quote, should spend at least 15 minutes a day set aside for intimate communication. This doesn't have to be one 15-minute block of time, perhaps 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. But at the end of the day, at least a total of 15 minutes, this communication is like a temperature check of each other's feelings. During this time, we should, and I couldn't get any more of the message in, Zenneman. Too long. You have to break it up into two. How do you show love on Valentine's Day? What is your ideal way to celebrate Valentine's Day? Do you think that this is something that we should use as a means to spread the gospel, to tell people about the love of Christ? Do you think that's far-fetched and y'all just need to stay out of the way and let us celebrate Valentine's the way we want to celebrate? A little, sparkly, a bottle of sparkly, and a little chocolate, and a little kissing here, and a little whatever there. Still can't hear us? No, I can't hear. Oh, wow. This is unfortunate because we can hear him. I don't know what's going on. Everything is open on your end, that he should be able to hear us, right? Okay. I don't understand what's going on with Barrington's sound. Don't know what to do. Okay. I will send him the telephone number and he could just call in. How about that? How about we do that? I will send him the number to call and we'll just get him on the phone. Because I really want to get him involved in this conversation. He really does have quite a bit to bring to the table. So let me send him the number to call. And then we will get him on the phone, and that will cut us down to one phone line. But I really want him to be a part of this conversation. So we're just waiting for him to dial the number, and then we're going to get him in here and see how we can make this work. So for you, the telephone number to call will be 326-0271, 326-0271, because we're going to try to get Barrington on 326-0272. Let me go ahead and send his telephone contacts. I'm trying to get him to call, but he's still trying to log in using StreamYard. So let me just go ahead and share his contact with you, my producer. And then you can call him on the line. How's that? Make sense? Okay. All right. I just sent you his number. So go ahead and call him on the line and let's get this conversation started. Because like I said, he does bring a wealth of knowledge. It would have been great to see him. Maybe we could still, I don't know if he's using his phone or his laptop. Maybe we can still have him come on to the stream so that Facebook audience could see him while he's speaking, but our radio audience will definitely be able to hear everything that he is saying. So folks, we're working on getting Barrington Brennen on the line. And as soon as we get that sorted out, we will continue with the conversation.
Could you hear me?
So Barrington, we can't hear you now. Can you hear us? Okay.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Finally, we have him. I don't know what you did differently, but it's now working. Okay.
Using my phone right now.
So is your laptop what's struggling with what's causing all this problem today?
My desktop.
Your desktop. I see. Oh, welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here. How are you?
I'm fine. Good to see you,
Wonderful.
Michelle. I haven't seen you since a whole
Last year.
year.
I know, right? It's been a minute. It's good to see your face
Yes.
again.
Yes.
I've been talking you up, saying what a wonderful counselor you are as it relates to relationships and couples and family counseling, etc. And you know, today is a big day on the calendar for lovers, and it being
Yes.
Valentine's Day. And we actually covered during the first half of the show the roots of Valentine's Day, the where it came from. How it got started.
A pity I didn't hear that. Oh, could you give me a nutshell of what?
Yeah, I was talking about paganism and how, you know, it got started. Let me pull up the name of the thing. How it got started with Lupercalia, and how the church, the Roman Catholic Church, eventually decided to Christianize some of the practices to get their pagan converts to stay within the Christian, the Roman Catholic Church, and then it talked about the role of Saint Valentine and his martyrdom and all that stuff. So that's
I just want to add something. The idea that they banned marriage.
Yes.
Banned marriage, and because they figured that married men would not be good fighting soldiers.
Yeah, we covered all of that. We covered all of that.
Okay. And so
now,
Valentine continued to marry them.
Exactly.
And he got in trouble.
Yes.
And that letter writing started from prison. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
We covered all of that. So while we were waiting for you. So now what I want this second half of the show to be about is how should we be celebrating Valentine's Day and every other day? Because my whole point is that Valentine's Day is a day that we say is a day of love, but every day should be a day of love. So when you have couples and families who come to you who are in trouble, who have forgotten how to love each other, what are some of the things that you share with couples in your counseling sessions to get them to understand the importance of dying to self when it comes to showing love?
Well, if Valentine's Day is going to be the only day that you are going to really spice up things and show love, then you're in trouble. Valentine's Day should only be a reminder. And some couples do not celebrate, meaning go out and do splurges and stuff like that on Valentine's Day, but they have vibrant, stimulating relationships. So the point is not to make Valentine's Day the day only a reminder. So many couples need to focus on loving unconditionally 24/7, 7 days a week. They need to love themselves first too and take care of themselves so they can effectively love someone else. Okay? Better. And that is very much important for being, for loving the one you choose. You know, what we say sometimes, not just go looking for someone to love. Love the one you choose, not just choose someone you love. Many people choose someone to love, and then they stop loving the one they choose. And that's it. Loving the one you have chosen is a 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 days a year task. So that is extremely important. Now, love in the marriage or in a relationship, married or not, now listen to my word, is a quick sight, as Quick, meaning that you don't have to pause and evaluate whether you want to love, could love. You choose to love and you quickly continue to love. Now, when you're making the choice whom you will love, that may go slowly. But when you shall make the selection and make it a lifelong commitment, you're not deciding anymore, should I love this person? It quickly remains a part of your psyche, a part of your being, a part of who you are. And Valentine's Day should only be a day to remind us of what that is, but I don't need Valentine's Day to do that.
I understand your point. So you would agree then, based on what you just said, that love is a decision. Would you say that? Would you
Love
agree with
is a decision. Love is a decision. You choose to love. Michelle, I believe you can, I don't know if I can say this properly. You could wake up one morning after your wedding day and realize you actually married the wrong person, and you actually did marry the wrong person. All right. Not that someone fooled you who you're marrying, but you made the wrong choice. I still believe that although you would have made that wrong choice, you can still choose to make it work if the other person chooses to do the same.
Okay.
Because love is a choice. Love is a choice, and it grows. The what you call the emotional attraction that you didn't have can come, and but what you need to have is the permanent. The Christian call it agapeo or agape love, the
unconditional?
foundation love, unconditional love.
Right.
It has nothing to do with whether or not you would get upset or angry with the person or disagree. It has to do with commitment. Now, I like that word, Michelle. What is missing in many relationships is the concept and behavior and practice of commitment. But when I say commitment, commitment has three aspects to it: commitment to the marriage itself, commitment to making it work, and commitment to each other. Now, many persons are committed to the marriage, but they're not committed on making a happy marriage. Okay, you
Many
need
people,
total commitment.
many persons are committed to the wedding day. You gone far.
Oh man, oh
The
yes.
wedding day is what it's all about.
In fact, I wonder why would they spend a 100 grand, $100,000 on the wedding, and they cannot even find money for the down payment for the property,
But that's another
or
show.
or they don't invest in the relationship while it is alive. They don't, but they have these shows, this big grand show. I during COVID-19.
How does one invest in a relationship? What are some of the things that people can do that
Let me give you some simple things.
Yes, please.
Let me see if I can think of some simple things. There's so many of them. First, you got to live together. Okay? Live together. When I say live together, I'm not talking about only in the same house, but also in the same bedroom, in the same hearts. You're allowing the person to live in your heart. You're sharing important aspects, your entire life with the person, not only portions of your life. Okay? Secondly, you spending time together. All right. I discovered a big problem is someone still wants to act like a single person. Come home late at nights, going to the wherever with friends, wherever, having fun with someone else, and give your partner the last energy, the residue of whatever you left. So spending times together. Thirdly, listen to this now. Go to bed the same time at least 3 nights a week. Now, that sounds very minor, but it is not. I discovered that many couples do not go to sleep or go to bed together. The only time they go to bed together is when they're traveling to Miami or Fort Lauderdale to shop, and they've been out all day and they're tired, so they drop in bed together, sleepy, tired. But other than that, something pulls them apart. Other than work schedule, which is acceptable. It is staying up late watching TV, out with the boys or the girls, other important matters to them, and they don't go into night to bed together. So they haven't those important moments of cuddling, of connecting, isn't there in their relationship. That's a missing link. Another important point, which is very popular, is get the little infant out of your bed. Do not have your children sleep with you at any age. The exceptions might be critical illness or something like that. Do not have your children sleep with you. And for heaven's sake, if you can afford it, don't have them sleep in your bedroom too. Don't ever do that. Don't make love while they're in there because you think they don't know because you're introducing them topics and themes that they don't know of, and then they get confused. One little boy who was fast asleep, he was 1.5 years old, and his mommy and daddy was cutting down the mustard and doing everything you can do in the bed. And she stood up in the crib and said, "Daddy, why are you beating mommy?" The daddy was not beating mommy, but that's the concept that the child got.
Right.
So get the child. Another point is go on regular dates, whether it's at home or out. Set a permanent date night, okay, in the week, once a week. We recommend once a week, not once a month, once a week. Don't ever give an excuse that you're too busy. You're too busy. That's a poor excuse, but you find time to go with the boys or the girls or to visit Grammy or mommy or daddy, but not for each other. To go on a regular date night. Here's a good one to do. Hug every day. When you first see each other standing on your feet. These are things I tell my couples. Hug every day when you first see each other standing on your feet, not when you're going out the door. I mean, you could hug then too, but that's not what I'm talking about. And this is not a quick hug. This is a lingering hug for 10 to 20 seconds. You see, many marriages lack the touch, and touching and hugging produces oxytocin and vasopressin, the love hormones in the body. Right? And when you have to stay in that hugging position it feels like it's long, up to 20 seconds. If you can't make 20 seconds, at least go 10 seconds or 8 seconds. Stay there, hold each other. Don't feel of body parts, just stay there every morning. When you first see each other standing on your feet, and you must be on your feet. Nothing wrong hugging in the bed, but the suggestion of being on your feet is that we're starting the day together.
I see.
And that's in addition to those Christians, those of us who pray. This is something different.
Because you're talking about intimacy on another level.
On a different level. See, go ahead. You see, let me say this, Michelle.
Yeah. Okay.
If every touch always or must lead or always feels like it's leading to physical interaction, coital interaction, sex, you have a big missing link in your relationship, a weak link in your relationship. We need to expose ourselves as sensually as we could, naked, touching, without having sex on the agenda as often as we could. It's wonderful when a touch leads to intercourse. That's excellent. But if every touch feels like it's leading to intercourse or always leads to intercourse, we are in big trouble.
That leads me to where I wanted to go next in this interview, and that is to talk about the difference between his needs and her needs. There's a great book actually called His Needs, Her Needs that breaks this down for us. Because what you just talked about, that not every touch should lead to sex, that is a great example of the difference in needs between men and women. Because generally speaking, a key need for a man is sex, whereas a key need for a woman is affection. The two aren't the same. So break that down for us in terms of and I think I dare say that this is probably a source of many unhappy relationships, because people go into the relationship expecting you to respond based on my need. So my need is affection. Your need is sex. I'm expecting you to respond based on my need. You expected me to respond based on your need. And we're not seeing eye to eye because I don't understand that you're coming from a totally different place as far as needs is concerned, and vice versa. Break that down for us, please.
I love that. Let me see how I can respond to this now, because I have never met Dr. Willard Harley, who wrote the book.
Yeah.
But I had the privilege of speaking to him on the phone, and his daughter, and he sent me the second edition in 1994 or so, which I have in my library. I have 2 or 3 copies, the very first one and the second edition. Now, my challenge is the book gives me makes me uneasy in a point. I use the book almost as a requirement of reading for many of my couples, okay?
Okay.
But I do tell them that you have to look through a different kind of window, okay? And you said something that I agree and also disagree with you. This
Okay.
matter of the need, man's need, a greater need of sex, a woman need of something else. Let me tell you something. I remember one specific year I asked for almost a solid year the couples, which one of you has a greater need for sex, is sexually the hottest? The man always points to the woman first. He pointed to the woman first, not him. Okay? I've had other seasons when it was the man. Now, when we lock ourselves into the concept that the man's greatest need is sex and the woman's greatest need is affection, we prevent ourselves from individualizing, from assessing our own place of where we are in our own relationship.
Okay.
And we're supposed to love the person the way the person wants us to love them, not the way we think the person's supposed to love them.
Right.
So even in relationships where the man could have sex every day or twice a week, it's not the top of his list. He's more affectionate than his wife.
Okay.
I'm giving you facts, okay? I've
Mhm.
also there are also cases where the woman is, should I use this word on the radio, more horny, more sexually
Has a bigger
enticing.
appetite.
Yes, yes. See, that was my challenge, and I spoke to Dr. Willard Harley about that and his daughter. I had a
Right.
challenge with that, and with he has the top 5 needs of men and the top 5 needs of women.
Mhm.
They vary between men and women. All right. So, for instance, one author says a woman, she needs touching, she needs holding, she needs being there, she needs hearing it, she needs smelling it. All the man needs is sex. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I've had countless men. I have countless men who needs touching, who wants a woman to listen and to talk to, who wants a woman to care for and to be cared for. Okay, we get in trouble when we tell someone, "Hey, your greatest need, your husband's greatest need is sex. Make sure give it to him, and anything can happen, no problem. Once you get that, he's straight." Terrible mistake to make. I think we should teach, or a woman's this is that. All she needs is affection. All she needs is this. And when it comes to their individuality, they no longer try to understand each other in the context of their own soul and their chemistry, their weaknesses, their strengths, their wishes, their desires. That's blocked because we've told them, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be. That's not true. That's my challenge with that book, although I do recommend it. There are a few traditional things in there I don't agree with. But the principles of the needs are good. But be aware that it is always fixated. Man, sex, woman, affection. Be
But
careful with that.
okay, I get your point. Would you agree, though, generally speaking, that men and women are very different creatures?
That's
And
correct.
yes, and
That's
we
men
need to be careful not to approach our significant other expecting them to respond based on our perspective of the situation.
and
Yeah, go ahead.
and I'd like to say that although men and women are different, okay, we need to train our young people not to respond in a relationship with a stereotypical idea of men and women are different, but respond to your partner's psyche, your partner's understanding. You
Right.
could marry someone. You could marry someone from a culture. When I say culture, I don't mean outside the Bahamas. It could be from a part of Nassau, a part of that family culture, where the women are all construction workers and the men are office workers.
Right.
That's their culture in their family. Okay, okay. The women, I'm not talking about building houses. In fact, there is an all-female construction company in the Bahamas. I think they hire the males sometimes. They come from that mentality. When another family is saying, tell the boys, listen here, girls, listen, that ain't your work, Your work is to be there, all right? So how do you understand your woman your man. That's key, rather than locking them in. Men and women are different. Well, what my focus will be is the physiological differences,
Okay.
which can impact the emotional differences. A woman has a breast, the man has a penis. The man has more muscles, bigger bones. Women has less muscles, smaller bones in general. Okay, but what does that mean? Does it really mean that a woman is automatically weaker than a man? Oh no, I know some women. They are much stronger than their husbands, bigger than their husbands, and stronger than their husbands, but their husbands still have more muscles. Okay, so I think we set up our young people, our older people, our families for trouble when we stereotypically put them down a pathway. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how it looks. For instance, a very simple one. This is Valentine's Day. All women want flowers. All women love flowers.
Diamonds
That's,
are a girl's best friend. Haven't you heard?
I have met women, they don't care a hill of beans about the cost of the wedding ring
Right.
or the necklace. They may love it, but what they want is their husband to come home early at night and cuddle with them. Okay?
True.
Not the cost of it. They don't even need a
or
ring.
not
They
spend
use
so
it
much
because
time
it's a wonderful
working.
formal way to express their
Yeah.
publicly their love. But then I met some other.
Say that again. I think you
That's
dropped off
correct.
there for near the end. Say that again.
And then on the other hand, I've met I met a lot of women, man. They want to know the cost of this engagement ring, man. They showed it off. See, I'm engaged, man. As though that's the marriage. That's the quality of the relationship. It isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
Oh, I
Yeah.
hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm
A lot
making
of sense. A lot of sense because for a lot of people, unfortunately, they are allowing their happiness to be impacted by what they see happening around them. So you see somebody come into the office and they flash this ring and oh he liked it so he put a ring on it, and you are allowing that to say, well, how come I don't have somebody and all this kind of stuff, but you don't know what that person is dealing with in that relationship.
That's correct.
It could be that that person is sporting a nice ring, but they could be sporting something else, a bruise or something else that they're trying to hide from you because they are presenting this perfect image. It's like the danger of social media. Because if you look at everybody's lives on social media, everybody's living the perfect life. Everybody's living their best life because they're putting this front out there. And if you allow your happiness to be impacted by that, you're going to be in trouble. Because a lot of these people who are putting out this facade of happiness really are quite miserable. And so you have to get to the point where the first Valentine that you show love to is yourself. Quite frankly, you can't effectively love someone else without first loving yourself. What are your thoughts on that, Barrington?
That's correct. And when you look into someone to fulfill the gaps within you, to make you complete, we are in trouble. My train of thought just dissipated a little bit there. But you are to be a complete person before you try to find someone else, because I do not, Michelle, agree with this concept or the phrase that we use, your other half or your better half. That irks me.
Yeah.
I walk into a store where my wife and we know the people well, and then someone who knows us sees. My wife walked in first while I was doing something outside. I walk in later and they said, oh, I saw your, and they would shout to my wife, here's your better half. I say, no, who says she's better than me? I'm better than her. I said, or they will ask me, where's your other half? I say, hold on, I'm not a half, I'm a whole. She's a whole. All these terminologies that we got to get out of our minds. We joke at them, but the narrative impact us. Okay, we have to perhaps change the narrative. I want to go back to something, Michelle, about culture, about the differences of men and women. All of this has to do with where you live also. Some of these books are written have difficulty being applied in some parts of the world. Okay.
Okay.
For instance, I remember when I was in, well, some of our concepts, the principles may stand in a sense, but some of our application concepts. For instance, when I was in Jamaica in college in 1973 to 78, a young man came there from one country in Africa. Now, I don't want to stereotype Africa because people have some other misconception. They're vastly different, all those countries. But a particular country in Africa, I can't remember if it was Ghana or Kenya. And he was there alone. Then 2 weeks later, another young man came. We found out it was a friend of his. And we saw these two young men walking around campus holding hands, like typically two girls would. Some students began to tease them or say, until we found out that was their culture.
Interesting.
Would you find two men walking around Nassau holding hands? I've seen it, but it's very rare.
Generally speaking, no.
I've walked with my son holding his hand before,
Yeah.
you know, but
I
my
get your point.
is,
It's all about the culture of the Now we have to take a quick break. Let's do this commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. Today is February 14th. It's Valentine's Day. It's supposedly the day of love, but what does that really mean? What are we celebrating, and how do we show love? Not just one day of the year, but every day. That's what we're talking about today. And we'll be back after these words. Stay with us.
Follow us on all social media. Like us on Facebook at Global 99.5 FM.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the
And welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. And for some reason, we just lost the guest. Barrington Brennen is our guest today on this Valentine's Day. And I'm hoping that he can sign back in real quick because he was bringing us some really good nuggets. So we'll just wait for him to come back on. In the meantime, we'd love to hear from you. Our telephone numbers to call are 326-0271. 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272, and our WhatsApp line is 824-9952, 824-9952. 9952, yes, 824-9952. And Barrington is now back, so let's get him into the stream. We lost you there for a second, Barrington. Glad to have you back.
I accidentally touched the wrong button.
Okay. So we're talking Valentine's Day today, the day of love, supposedly, but the whole point of the show is, well, I guess there are 2 points. Number one, that Valentine's Day is not what you think it is in terms of its origin, but more importantly, that we need to find a way to show love every day, not just on one day of the year. How big of a deal is communication when it comes to showing your partner that you really do care? Because, love is not love unless it is expressed. It's not enough to say, I love you, I love you, I love you. You're saying it, but you're not showing it. It's like you said, an action word. So how important is communication in this whole conversation?
I like your question, but let me make a preamble. When we hear the word communication, we think of speaking back and forth, relaying words, sentences, and ideas and concepts. But I want to say something, since this is Valentine's Day, about that still is communication first. One, if you haven't said I love you without words, the words will make no sense.
Say that again.
If you haven't said I love you without words, the words will make no sense. Okay? If you haven't said I love you without flowers, the flowers will make no sense. Okay? So now that's communication. How did that person communicate? For instance, when my wife and I have been married 45 years this year, all right? When I first met in 1975, I knew she loved me. We were going for 3 or 4 months before I said I love you. I knew she loved me before I said I love you. I knew. How did I know that? We communicated. Let's use the young people term, some vibes, some passion. We were interested in certain things, a conversation, a lot of things, how we talk and how we are interested and what we want to do together and so forth. My wife said something to me, my wife to be, at the time, the first week after I met her. We were sitting in cafeteria. I'm not sure if I said this to you on the show before, but I'm going to repeat it. And this is how I knew she really loved me without using the word, communicating the words, I love you. She drew a little on a 3x5 card, graphic, stick people going up a mountain, boy and a girl, coconut trees. And then she wrote on the hillside, to be with you is my greatest delight. I still have that card today. Okay. Now, she did not say, I love you. She did not say, I love you. She did not use those words. But she communicated her passion, her love, her feelings towards me without using the words, I love you. So when I said, I love you, first, using the words, she responded, I love you too. That was natural. We felt it. If when I said, I love you, and she couldn't respond, that meant my I love you becomes a question. Okay, so communication is very big, but we have to learn how to communicate non-verbally as we communicate verbally. So that's why I want us to understand. What messages do we give when we come home late and don't say a word? Your partner asks you, why are you coming home at 2 o'clock? Your partner should not have to ask you that if you came home at 2 o'clock, but you should also respond, I came home because the tire was flat. Why would that? I was at that woman's house.
But they say actions speak louder than words.
You said actions speak louder. All right. So I just wanted to understand that. Now, when we communicate, actually use words. Remember this. What you're hearing is not always what is being said. What you're hearing is not always what is being said.
Do you have any techniques that you can teach people how to repeat what they think they're hearing the other person say, so there's clarity in the communication?
Why do you want to come inside my therapy room?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, let's go on.
It's so important because you could be saying one thing and I hear something completely different and you can't figure out, and I just tell you this?
And let me give you an example. I usually tell my couples when I go in through, because we do role plays and so forth. Here is one. Michelle, let's imagine you have a husband. You ask him, honey, could you please bring me a cool glass of water?
Right.
He brings you a cool glass of water with ice in it. And instead of you saying thank you, you saying, honey, I didn't ask you for ice. You don't listen to me. You never listen to me. I said I want cool water. And so there's this argument, you never listened to me. No, he heard exactly what you said. In fact, he could write down word for word what you said, but listen to it. Talking about family culture, which is stronger than national culture, where he was raised, a cool glass of water always meant ice. In fact, it's insulting to give someone a glass of water without ice, even if it's 20 degrees below zero. Where you were raised, a cool glass of water meant room temperature water or little Frigidaire water mixed with room temperature water.
Right.
So now he's hearing cool glass of water, but a cool glass of water for him means ice. That's why one of my favorite early old-time marriage and family therapist, Norman Wright, who did many videos and books, he always talked about learning your partner's language. And it's not about French or Spanish or English or Creole or Dutch. It's about how your partner uses words. How your partner uses words. Not the dictionary definition of words, but what are you hearing? What are you hearing? Can I give you one more? What I always give, I like this one. Your husband tells you, your boyfriend tells you, honey, when you leave, close the door behind you. You close the door behind you. He comes out half an hour later and notice that the door is unlocked. Okay, so here is not the same problem. He grew up in a part in Nassau where closing the door always meant lock the door, because if you're outside in the front of the street playing marbles, someone can still go in and steal the clock off the wall. You raise another part of Nassau where you don't lock the door. Maybe if you go to the food store, but you don't lock the door going to the neighbor.
Or
So
maybe you, I think no place in Nassau like that. You were raised on Family Island.
Don't spoil my illustration, man.
Let me stop. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So close the door for you means close it. Your family says lock the door when they want to. Close the door for him means lock it.
Gotcha.
Now, after the first time, you would try to understand the language, the meaning of things. But here's the challenge we have. A partner tells his or her partner something very clearly, and that partner asks a question. Are you saying you mean this or you mean this? And the one who gave the message said, you're intelligent, you're stupid. You're smart, man. Figure it out. That's a mistake, because what you are saying may not be what he is hearing. Okay, same thing. So we need to take the time to what we call clarify. Restate to the person what you're hearing the person say. Are you saying you'd like for me to paint the walls green? You could ask a question or you can make a statement. So it is important not to assume that you got your partner's message. It's important not to assume you got your partner's message, and then you make a judgment on what you assume. Now, of course, Michelle, if you have to every year, every time for the next 40 years ask, do you mean egg? Do you mean egg? Then you haven't learned.
Yeah, you let slow if you ain't catch on
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about this terminology that I've heard about somebody's love bank.
Oh, yes.
So what happens on Valentine's Day
It's
is
very
often
small.
you ain't paying no attention to this person all year. You neglect them all year. And you figure I good because I buy you on Valentine's Day a box of chocolates, some roses, and I take you to the movies and we had dinner. So I good for the year.
Yeah.
And then you can't understand why 2 weeks later, this person upset with you. And you're like, but I just took you to the movies 2 weeks ago. I just buy you chocolate and roses. You don't know I love you.
That's
What your problem is?
patronization. That's patronization.
Talk to us about the love bank and the importance of making regular deposits to a person's love bank.
That's either Gary Smalley or Willard Harley, or both of them, the love bank. We make deposits. Everything, just like a regular bank account, everything we say or do, we either make a deposit or withdrawal.
Yeah.
That's natural in every single relationship. A deposit or withdrawal. And they say for every withdrawal, you need to make 5 deposits or something like that. You make a deposit. Every kind word, every kind action, every kind deed, every remembrance of nice things, whatever. Any negative thing you do, and it doesn't have to be a relationship breakup negative thing, but any negative thing you do makes a withdrawal. So if you make a withdrawal, even it's very minor, doesn't cause an issue, but you continue to make that withdrawal and don't make a deposit, then your love bank starts to get depleted. And when your marriage gets cold, we have misunderstandings, we have false assumptions, we're making wrong decisions, needs are not being met. So our goal is to keep the bank of love filled. Another allegory, I think Willard High uses the teacup. The teacup, all right? You have to keep on putting tea in the teacup and not expect it to remain full. We use it, we drink out of it. And so making that deposit every single day, every morning, every midday, all day. You have to find ways of making a deposit. Now, for heaven's sake, I am not asking you to call your wife on the job every 5 minutes. Don't do that. That's painful. That's going to ruin the relationship.
Or
right?
expect her to do it for you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're talking about the heart connection, okay? And that's very important.
Fascinating
So we all
stuff.
have a bank.
Yeah. So if you are a person who does not have a lot of money and you don't want to do anything illegal to please your loved one this Valentine's Day, but you ain't want to end up in the doghouse either because, they surrounded by all the young girls who getting all the roses and all this stuff, and they feeling like, boy, my husband don't even appreciate me anymore. Or you might be a young fella, not even married. You're just trying to impress this girl, but you ain't got a whole lot of money. What are some of the things that you can do?
But mate, I got to respond to how you formulated that question first.
Okay.
And then you got to remind me what the question is.
Okay.
That problem would be how you're saying, I'm going to be in the doghouse if I don't bring flowers. If that happens, that means the relationship hadn't reached a level of full communication, love, and understanding. Because if you couldn't afford the flowers, then he or she would know that. Therefore, we can stay cuddle in bed tonight. We can't afford flowers. There's no, where my flowers? All them people getting flowers. How come you aren't giving me flowers? You don't love me. No.
Relationship would have broken down before then, in other words.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Okay. Now, what was the question now?
For somebody who finds themselves in a position where they especially in this economy, listen, a lot of people hurting right now financially, don't have the money.
That's
Can't
right.
afford to go buy no chocolate and roses. I mean, you should be happy I putting food on the table to eat. So, a person in that position who doesn't have a lot, how can you show love in a tangible way? And I know we've covered a lot of that already, but what are some of the things that a person can do, little things that will still make their partner feel loved and appreciated, even if they don't have a lot to materialistically a lot to give?
When you come in the house, pick the nearest flower, shepherd needle, hibiscus, whatever, and give it, and be genuine about it. Honey, I love you. Whether it's husband or wife. Oh, by the way, let me break the stereotype. Wives, I don't care what some of you men say. Men love flowers also, okay? Men love flowers also, so give them the flowers. In fact, let me change something. Let me divert a little bit. In the Bahamas, and not in the Bahamas, I lived in Jamaica, United States, when they have big concerts or awards or big occasions, and the man was maybe the speaker, and they give on a gift. They come up and give flowers to the woman and give the man an envelope. Do you know there's some countries in Europe, they give both the husband and wife, the speaker the flower and the woman the flower.
Okay.
So I have actually been in situations like that. They've given my wife flowers. I would say openly in public, where's my flower? Where are my flowers? So anyway, I just want a little diversion there on that.
What are your thoughts on one of the clips that I played while we were waiting for you to come on was that believers should use Valentine's Day as a means to evangelize, to talk about the ultimate Valentine, who is the one that laid down his life for his bride. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, people are doing that. In fact, at least I have done that many times. Whenever the closest worship day to Valentine's was all, and I call it lovers. No. I didn't do that. I changed that within 30 years, within 10 years. I call it loving day, not lovers day.
Okay.
Which the connotation may be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, romantic relationships. I call it
Right.
loving day. So
Right.
that can be mom and dad and children and boss and employee and every human being loving one another. So I think it's a wonderful thing. Well, my problem, I don't know if this is what you're referring to. A lot of people hearts are softened and ripen when we can share an appropriate message that had a spiritual overtone. But some people use it politically, sort of, and take too much advantage of it, and then they're cold after that. So I think it's a beautiful idea in general, and many of us have done that around February. In fact, there's some denominations or churches the entire month of February, and I have done this several times. In many of my churches, the entire month of February was loving month. February is loving month. So I would have some for the teenagers, for the children, for the grandparents, for the husbands and the wives, and the singles. Please, Michelle, and you are a lovely single woman. Please, us people always leave out the singles when it comes to Valentine's. They are much in love and much in need of love. They are loving, can be love and lovable. Okay, please remember that singles are loving people, and they love loving, and they are lovable, and they love receiving love.
Well, it's weird that you would say that, because not weird, but it's interesting that you would say that, because, society puts so much pressure on people who are single that that your life is not complete unless you have a wife or a husband. And I will tell you, many years ago, that would have bothered me on a day like today. But the older you get, the less you care. So
yes, that's right.
So I'm at the point right now, I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? Because to me, it's all about being happy within one's skin.
Yes, that's important.
That is so important, because you could be some of the loneliest people in the world are people who are married and surrounded by people, but they're still lonely people.
Boy, that's right. And in fact, then let me take you another place with that. You know how we like to renew marriage vows which is good. I'm not criticizing that per se, but in a regular church setting, the pastor will say, next Sunday, next Sabbath, next whatever, we're going to all married couples going to renew their marriage vows. I'm 67 now, going on 68, and for many, many years, that was all it was. And several years ago, I decided I say, that isn't right. Now, if it's done in a marriage retreat with only married couples or something like that, yes. But I created renewal of vows for married couples, something for teenagers, single parents, divorcees, and all those. So when we do the married couples, we have about 5 categories of people. You don't leave them out. That's a mistake we do. Okay? Everything is around marriage. The person get up to pray in church. Lord, I thank you for all the husbands and wives, and bless these marriages, and so on. And we leave the singles out, and we leave the divorcees out. And by the way, Michelle, in a church of 200 people sitting down in church, listen to this. I did a study one time, and it's not scientifically the same in every church, but 200 adults sitting down in church, you may have 25 to 30% of them married. That's all. Intact, married. The rest of them would be divorced and widowed or never married, don't want to get married, can't get married, whatever. Children with single parents, whatever, blended families. But if you're going to talk about just husband and wife, never married before, just married one time, you may have 25 to 30%.
Hmm.
So when we pray or when we're doing ministry, who we're doing it for? The married folk. And 75% of your people are not married. Or were
Interesting.
married before and divorced, or married this one, and then now you come together, have a blended family. You know how many blended families are in our congregations, and there's nothing about loving blended families within themselves. How do we deal with blended families, step families? Always married folk in the nuclear setting who've never been married before. Therefore, we're meeting the needs, and I think we're skewing the idea of love and causing more pain and more misunderstandings. We're creating hierarchy of love when all of us are in need of love. If you want to talk from a Christian perspective, Christ died for everyone, not just the married folk.
Right.
Sometimes how we talk is like only for the married folk.
Chad.
And it's the married folk who've never been married before and had children out of wedlock. They don't. The only holy married ones are those who have never been married before, never had children out of wedlock, and get married.
Right.
Forgetting that the leaders in the community who are doing a good job, maybe married twice or never was married and have 4 children, but they're doing well. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, this is I have to have you back on and we can have more time because there's so much ground to cover. But there are a lot of people out there right now who are hurting, who feel that they are not loved, or who have some kind of self-esteem challenge that they feel that, maybe I'm not lovable. What do you say to a person like that on a day like today, to help them to understand that you are worthy, whether you are in a relationship or not? How do you respond to that?
And we can have, I know we have different kind of listeners today, and I'm going to think of 2 types. So I'm going to just say generally first that we need to encourage everyone to love themselves. Look in the mirror and say, I am special. I am complete, unique, and special.
Mm-hmm.
For the one who believes in God, God made me complete, unique, special, and with a purpose. We all have a purpose. You see, there's so much shaming and blaming in our society by parents or significant others who are in charge of others, who raise others, that the concept of loving yourself is gone. And therefore, what these people do is try to hurt others or shame others so they can feel big and proud and feel important. And that's the pain of our society, in many aspects of our society, not unique to the Bahamas. So we want everyone to learn how to love yourself, accept yourself. God made you complete, unique, special, and with a purpose. He had a concept in mind. And it's okay to love yourself. It's okay to look in the mirror and talk to yourself. You're not going to be crazy to talk to yourself. Enjoy yourself. I have one thing I ask my clients who are a little down.
We have to wrap it up now because we have less than a minute left in the show.
Okay.
So just give us your final thoughts.
One thing I ask my clients to do is to go out and treat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Do something to treat yourself this week. Buy ice cream or buy a new car, whatever one you can treat yourself. But thank you for having me. Thank you for having me with you, Michelle.
Thank you, Barrington. And listen, if you want to treat yourself, there's no better place to do so than the Tiki Bikini Hut. You see what I did there? Tiki Bikini Hut on Johnson Beach. Listen, I went there Friday night for dinner, right? Because Byron said, "Oh, Michelle, we heard you talking about come on for dinner." And I told you what I'm stuck on, right? So he was like, "Michelle, why don't you try something else?" I said, "No, I want the oxtail." Byron put his foot in that thing, man. I'm like, Byron, you so wrong for doing this to me. You trying to hook me. I am so hooked. But check out Tiki Bikini Hut on Junkanoo Beach. The food is divine. The presentation is amazing. The atmosphere is friendly. And I promise you that you will have a good time. Tell them Michelle Malcolm sent you. Barrington, thank you so much for being here today. That's our time, folks. We got to get out of here. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us on GPS today. We have a great show planned for you tomorrow. Fontella Dean Shipman is going to be in the house, and you know she always is bring the fire, right? So be sure to check us out tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in, and everybody have a good one.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B and